This is the first movie of CO2 being absorbed by ethanol. It will demonstrate the very rapid absorption and mixing of a supercritical fluid and a liquid. This is the sight glass. This is the sight glass cavity into which I shall pour the ethanol. Here's a gauge that I'm using to read at what condition I achieve. The bottle of CO2 is over here. I will introduce the ethanol into the cavity. There's about 20 mLs. The cavity volume is 60 mLs. I'm going to seal the sight glass. And start introducing the CO2 into the bottom of the cavity. So I'll turn my valve on. And there CO2 is bubbling into it. We're at about 50 psi. I'll stop, and the level has not risen. We're at about a level of 4 volts. But as I introduce increasingly more pressure to the sight glass cavity, the volume of ethanol will expand because it is absorbing the CO2. I am up to about 250 psi, and I'm still at about the same level. There has been very little expansion, very little absorption. But as I continue with the pressure up to 3, 4, 500 psi, 600 psi, I'll stop and show you that the volume of ethanol has increased. I'm up now to about 5 volts, so I've increased about 15% in volume. And as I approach the vapor pressure, I will absorb without limit, and that column of ethanol will rise to the top. And I'm now at the vapor pressure of CO2, which happens to be 850 psi in this lab today. And it shows the absorption, the very rapid mixing of CO2 and ethanol. End of the first movie.